What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 4-4 YouTube channel. Welcome back to another matchups video where I, Hutchinson, run delivery matchups that I love, hate, or just want to talk about in fantasy football for this week. Before I get in this video, though, I appreciate if you're subscribed to this YouTube channel and click that little notification bell so you'll be notified every single time a new video drops. And also, check out the 4-4 website, 44.com. Go to that plans page and check out all the premium content you could sign up for. When you sign up for a plan, whichever plan you choose, use the code YouTube to get 25% off your plan. Again, use the code YouTube when signing up for your plan. But let's get in this video. Remember, it's matchups that I love, hate, or just want to talk about in fantasy football for this week. The first one is going to be a streaming tight end option that I think is really interesting for this week, and that's Juwan Johnson, tight end of the New Orleans Saints. He's had moments of fantasy success this year, but it hasn't been consistent. I think this week could be a really nice one. The Lions are a middle-of-the-pack defense in terms of fantasy points allowed to the tight end position this season. They've been on and off this year in terms of defense against the tight end, and Chris Olave is dealing with a concussion right now. It's questionable to whether he plays this week. Given how serious the injury looked and given how quickly he was ruled out, I would bet against him playing this week. So if he doesn't play, that lines up Juwan Johnson for an increased target share. But even if Chris Olave does play, you're coming off concussion. You haven't practiced all week. You haven't gotten in your rhythm. You might not be 100% there. Juwan Johnson, even when Chris Olave has been playing, Juwan Johnson still had moments of success for fantasy football. Why can't he do it against Detroit with Chris Olave a little bit off? So I think Juwan Johnson's a really solid tight end streaming option if you really need one. There's a lot of buys this week, so you might be in need of one. Another one we want to talk about, another bench here, is James Conner. I'm going to sit James Conner this week, and I'm going to sit him a lot this season, actually. I think he's going to be someone you don't want to play in fantasy football a lot for the rest of the season. And if your trade deadline still hasn't gone up yet, sell James Conner. His snaps significantly decreased last week compared to the regular. He saw a season low in snaps at 42% if you exclude the game he got knocked out in. And Michael Carter also saw 8 opportunities, 4 rush attempts, and 4 targets. That's the most important thing, 4 targets. If James Conner's not getting that receiving work we wanted to, his fantasy upside is going to be significantly capped. And also, when you look at his last 5 games played, he hasn't hit 10-plus PPR fantasy points in any of them. Not only is Michael Carter now starting to get more involved, James Conner's has been struggling as is. If Michael Carter continues to be involved in this offense, continues to get the 8 to 10 to 12 touch range potentially, that's going to be disastrous for Conner's fantasy football value. So sit him this week against the Steelers. I know it might be a revenge game. That's a fun story and all, but no, James Conner is someone you don't want to start in fantasy football for until further notice. All right, now looking into the running backs, we're not talking about benching. We're actually talking about starting these players, and they're actually backfield mates. Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris are both in play this week. Over the last 6 games, 9 combined games of 10-plus PPR points from these 2 running backs. Both of them have been very relevant for fantasy football. This week against Arizona, that's a great matchup. That's a fantastic matchup for running backs. So I think Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren could both see a lot of success this week. Najee's going to probably be getting a lot of work in the red zone. He could get in the end zone. Jaylen Warren, we know he's a good pass catcher. We know he's explosive. These 2 have been good for fantasy over the last few weeks. You can start both of them as RB2s. All right, so the next player we want to talk about, actually 2 players, a pair of players. We are benching the Falcons receiving room. Drake London is a no, and Kyle Pitts is a no. I mean, Kyle Pitts has been a must bench pretty much over the last handful of weeks anyway. But Drake London specifically, I want to talk about because he had a great game last week. He had a really solid performance. 7 targets, 5 catches, 90-plus yards. And people are like, ooh, maybe I could start him this week. Maybe I could get him in there. No, you don't want to do that. The Jets are arguably the best pass defense in the entire National Football League, one of the best defenses overall in the NFL. And Desmond Ridder is going to be struggling against the Jets defense. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw multiple interceptions. I wouldn't be surprised if he's under 200 yards. And as a result, Drake London and Kyle Pitts are just no's for me in fantasy. This is not a game you're going to want to start the Falcons receivers. So Drake London, Kyle Pitts, get out of your lineup. All right, so let's move on here. We're going to go to my game of the week. This is the 49ers and the Eagles. I mean, this is the game of the week. This is the game of the week overall for fantasy everything. This is it. I mean, all the hype. As an Eagles fan myself, I've been a little bit involved. All the hype, all the trash talk, all the insanity from the NFC Championship game last year will all come down to this game. And so as a result, when you're looking at the 49ers side of the ball, Brock Purdy, you can start him as a QB1 in fantasy if you really need it. You can absolutely do that. Debo, you can start. Ayuk, you can start. Kittle, I would start. And Christian McCaffrey, obviously you're going to start him. And looking to the other side of the football, Jalen Hurts, you're starting him. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, you're starting them. And then looking at the running back room, you can start DeAndre Swift. The tight end room, I don't think you want to start any of these guys. It looked to be a mess last week without Dallas Goedert, so I would not be starting a tight end from the Eagles. Then looking towards the defensive streamers. I mean, I always talk about some defensive streamers on this video. The Falcons and the Jets, They're playing in the same game, but they're both great defensive streams. It's two horrible, very slow offenses. I would prefer the Jets defense, but if you can't find them, the Falcons defense should be good too. Both are just going to be, this is going to be a miserable game to watch for Jets and Falcons fans out there. I'm sorry. This is not going to be fun. This is not going to be high scoring. I wouldn't be surprised if this game is under 25 total points. Like, this is going to be bad. So do start the Falcons and Jets defenses. And then I like the Rams defense against the Browns. I mean, during times when Robinson's the starter, and the Rams defense is pretty darn good. They've been pretty good along this season. That's just, it's an easy matchup made there. All right, but that's going to be it for this video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'd appreciate if you're subscribed to this YouTube channel, click that little notification bell so you'll be notified every single time a new video does drop. And also, check out 44.com. Look at that plans page. Sign up for a plan. Use the code YouTube to get 25% off. It's going to help you win your fantasy football leagues. And follow me on Twitter. I'm at Hutchinson B_FF. Again, I'm a teenage content creator trying to make his way in the fantasy football space. So any love and support there would be greatly, greatly appreciated. All right, everybody. Good luck in your fantasy football matchups this week. We'll see you next week with our transactions video.